Hello, I'm Kai McNamee, and welcome to the Whovians Assemble. Now, those of you who subscribe to the more popular YouTube channels might not know who I am. Well, I started my YouTube channel fairly recently, and I'll just do a bit of a background. I first became involved in this little project through Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag, and through the Who Addicts. And through them, I became aware of this little community of WhoTubers, and they sort of inspired me to create my own channel related to my favourite thing ever, Doctor Who. Rather than reviewing TV stories, which I've seen lots of them, and I wanted to do something a bit different, so I decided to review something I was very interested in, which were Big Finish audios. And it's that which my video will be related to today. First of all, subscribe to my YouTube channel. There'll probably be a link below, like my videos. Yeah, here is my top 5 Big Finish monthly Doctor Who audios. First of all, at number 5, it is The Chimes of Midnight by Rob Shearman. Now, as you can see, this is a 8th Doctor Paul McGann story, and accompanied by his assistant Charlie Pollard, played by India Fisher. Now, I don't want to give too much detail away about these stories because I don't want to get rid of all the material for a future review. Yet this story has a degree of dark humour to it. It's quite suspenseful, and it's at Christmas, and that's when I usually like to hear this story, at Christmas time. But it's really good. Paul McGann is excellent, and the story is really well written, and it's most of its reviews are extremely positive for very good reason. So, number 5, Chimes of Midnight. For my number 4 position, it is The Kingmaker by Ned Fountain. This stars Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor, Nicola Bryant as Perry, and Carolyn Morris as Erimem. Now, that's an original Big Finish companion who is an Egyptian pharaoh, and her story is The Eye of the Scorpion. Another story I recommend. But this story, it's historical, and it plays on the idea. It's definitely comical, but there are obviously serious scenes in there, and obviously interesting subject matter. But this is definitely played for laughs, and I like this story. But it's really good. It's based around Richard III and his story, and related to the Princes in the Tower, what exactly his story is, and the Doctor and his companions going back and investigating their time. But it also wraps up in a subplot based around the Shakespeare play, which isn't historically accurate. So this is a really good story, and includes a brief cameo from John Coleshaw as the 4th Doctor. But you have to listen and find out. Number 3 release will be Jubilee, starring Colin Baker as the 6th Doctor and Maggie Stables as Evelyn Smythe. Again, another original Big Finish companion, who is, I say, about in her 60s. She's a university lecturer of history, and she is probably one of my favourite 6th Doctor companions. You know, she is a fantastic foil for Colin Baker's Doctor, and has been labelled as the one who kind of roughed up the edges of his incarnation and kind of brought him down to earth a bit more, and she definitely does that. She is a really interesting and well played character. Jubilee, some of you might have heard about Jubilee. This was the story that was loosely adapted into Rob Shearman's first Doctor Who series episode, Dalek. Obviously you can see it features a Dalek, but this story is very different to its successor. It's a very different story, but you can see where he gets his inspiration from. And this is based around the Doctor and Evelyn arriving in an alternative timeline, where basically an alternative future for England, where there's an English empire built around their conquest of the Daleks 100 years earlier, and they're about to celebrate their Jubilee. This is another one of very dark humour, and there's quite some gritty scenes in here as well. Definitely some violence, and these were in the days before Big Finish had to tone down its kind of violent setting before the TV show came back. But this story I definitely recommend. Oh yeah, and the cliffhanger at the end of part 2 is just amazing. But Martin Jarvis and Rosalind Ayres, they steal this show. They are amazing, and they play very interesting and very warped characters. But I'll leave you to listen to that. So that's my number 3 position. Number 2 position will have to go to another Colin Baker story called Dabros. Now this was released in 2003 and stars Terry Malloy as Dabros. And this was his first appearance in Big Finish, and he's going to have lots of Big Finish appearances. Bit of background about this. In 2003, obviously, it was Doctor Who's 40th anniversary. So in the lead up to their big 40th anniversary release, Zagreus, which I'll review at a later date on my channel, possibly. But they wanted to release a trilogy of stories based around iconic Doctor Who villains, and this one is the second of that trilogy, Dabros. And I will say about this, it doesn't have any Daleks in it, because the producer, Gary Russell, wanted to explore Davros' character without the extra baggage of having the Daleks there. And believe me, it really does. It's a real character study, and it gives a bit of background to how he came up with the Dalek idea, and a few flashbacks to his time on Skaro. But Terry Malloy plays a fantastic performance in this, and the 2 guest stars, Bernard Horsfall and Wendy Padbury, they're 2 other fantastic characters. They're really well done, and the chemistry between Colin Baker and Terry Malloy is no greater than it is here. But Terry Malloy definitely steals the show. One thing I will say, there's one standout scene for me in this, and it's the scene where Davros is talking about his time frozen in cryogenics, which is a reference to Resurrection of the Daleks. And that scene is amazing. And something else I will point out is that the music for this story is incredible, particularly during that scene. But the story is really atmospheric, and it is really, really brilliant. Now, since it was really difficult to compile this top 5 of Big Finish audios, because Big Finish produced such fantastic audio drama, I thought I'd include some honourable mentions before I reveal my number 1 slot. So they have to go to another Rob Shearman story, The Holy Terror, Omega, the first instalment of the villain trilogy starring Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor and Ian Collier as Omega, A Death in the Family starring Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor, and my other honourable mention will be Circular Time, an anthology release featuring 4 separate stories over 4 parts, starring Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor and Sarah Sutton as Nyssa. But my number 1 position will have to go to my very first Big Finish audio drama. This is undoubtedly my favourite audio drama from Big Finish, by one of my favourite Big Finish writers, starring my second favourite Doctor, and that will be Master by Joseph Lidster. This is the concluding instalment of the villain trilogy in 2003, and it stars Sylvester McCoy as the 7th Doctor and Geoffrey Beevers as the Master. Now, this is another fantastic character study, not only of the Master, but of the Doctor himself. Now, Geoffrey Beevers is now taking the slot as my second favourite Master. Number 1 would definitely have to be Roger Delgado as the definitive and my first favourite Master. But this story explores the relationship between the Doctor and the Master in maybe a way you wouldn't really expect. But it explores a bit of background of their life in Gallifrey. Not too much. There's some mystery there. It doesn't give too much away. But what we do find out is really intriguing. And after hearing this story, you will never see the Master or the Doctor, in all honesty, the same again. But again, the sound design is fantastic. Sylvester McCoy is amazing, and Geoffrey Beevers just steals this, playing maybe not the Master you think he is. But this not only goes into depth about the Master's motivations, why he is the way he is, but also goes in depth of the Doctor's motivations, maybe why he's behaved in this particular way, or what's motivated him throughout his entire life since leaving Gallifrey. But this story is definitely a story you need to listen to. It's amazing. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 from me. But I'll give a more in-depth review at a later date. And of course, I'll need to mention Joseph Lidster, who wrote this story, who is my favourite Big Finish writer, and a writer who I admire greatly, I will say. And like I said, I'll give a more in-depth review at a later date. So that's me from my top 5 Big Finish monthly range audios. Those are only the monthly range ones. There are obviously lots of others, but that's and I will possibly do another top 5 list based on one of their other ranges. But if you want to hear from more Big Finish reviews from me, subscribe to my channel. I will probably be reviewing Light at the End. I think I need to discuss that with the leader of the channel, and I'll probably do some more Big Finish reviews on this channel. But if you want more Big Finish reviews, not necessarily just Doctor Who reviews, other Big Finish reviews and reviews of other things, then subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and welcome to the Whovians Assemble.